Hi, everybody. Alexander, Evgenia, nice to meet you. Let's wait for a couple of minutes for other participants. Do you hear me well? Do you see me well? Is everything okay?
Hello, my darling.
Kind of, is there any noise, some background noise, or is it kind of suppressed enough? Is the sound clear? So I specifically installed this headset so the sound is clearer.
It's
Evgenia.
amazing. Hi, Anton. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Anna. Hi, Ilya. Hi, Dmitry. Hi, Lev. Thanks, everybody, for connecting. Let's wait a couple of minutes more for others. Yeah, let's turn the videos on as much as possible.
I promise to do so. I just need to find a place, yeah, to sort of settle down. I was just kicked out recently.
Yes, find a beautiful one, please. Kind of a nature and a background.
I'm in Berlin, Anton. Don't forget that. There is very limited capability to manage this expectation.
Okay, so no stars as well, I suppose, right?
Rain.
I'm sorry. How it's called, like Brandenburger Tor? How it's called in German?
Yeah, that does exist. It's pretty, yeah. I mean, this is a pretty area, not where I am now.
Okay, I think your face is the only beautiful image we expect today. So even with zero background.
I take this, yes.
Okay. Yeah, 1 minute more and we'll start. A final countdown. It's a final countdown, just to share some energy with you. Although I slept 3 hours today, but somehow energy is still within, still inside. I'm sure Lev could understand, because I'm sure he would be the winner if we were to compete in sleepless nights.
I hope not.
I mean, like in the past. Hope not in the future, Lev, because we remember you have in your personal development plan.
Exactly.
So yeah, absolutely agree with you. So the sleep is a king or a queen. Okay, so genderless prince. Hi, David. Oh, would you prefer us to call you David? What's your preferable one?
Doesn't matter. David, okay.
Okay. It's cool. It's 3 minutes. I think like it's a gentleman interval. Okay, Ilya, we will consider that your internet connection is poor. Khalid, hi. Thanks for connecting.
Hello, guys.
Okay, yeah, so we're starting. Yeah, I will probably start, and we decided to continue with this tradition of kind of tuning in, sharing kind of emotions, where we are. Have we had a good sleep or a bad sleep tonight? What is our mood? What is our kind of feeling? 10 out of 10. Hi, Ashraf. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm implying a correct answer. So how many points out of 10? So it could be 0, it could be 10. Okay. So yeah, mine is usually 10 out of 10. Although, as we say with our common acquaintance, Sergei Dmitriev, who Lev knows very well, and I think Dmitry also knows, we choose 10 out of 10. It's kind of a stoic approach. So we kind of perceive the maximum out of what is possible. Yeah, slept 3 hours, still energetic, still in Barranquilla. A lot of things to share with you today. I would probably not spend a lot of time now but I would love to cover all of that in the last closing part of today's meeting. So, and I would pass over to, let it be Anna, as I think it's her first time today, right?
Yes, it is, but I still hope to find a place to sit, so give me 5 more minutes and I'll be more stable.
So then as a substitute, I think we also kind of welcome today Ashraf. I think it's his first time today, right, Ashraf? So nice to meet you, although we have been in, you know, close connection via the chat. So please, can you say, how are you feeling? Where are you? Your mood out of 10 points. I see you're kind of connecting to audio, so probably we should give you a couple of minutes. Okay, David is also today the first time, and he kind of made us understand that he's able to connect via video. So David, passing the word to you. How are you feeling today? Where are you?
9 of 10, I would say. I'm in
Great.
Almaty, at home.
Okay. Yeah, and a kind of a tradition also to everybody. You can pass the word to anybody whom you like, or who is just in the top left corner of your screen. So, or randomly, how would you prefer?
Lev.
Okay.
Thank you, David. I'll pass it on to Dmitry Riman later on. And so I'm, I would guess, 8 out of 10. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'm still waking up a little bit. And I'm very happy that we met today. I prepared a small presentation, so I'm a little bit excited, a little bit worried, and I look forward to our conversation. And I pass it on to Dmitry.
Okay, hello to everybody. Thank you, Lev. I would pass it to Khalid. I'm now in Thailand, in Phangan. I live here for 2 months, and beautiful place. It's evening here, 9 o'clock. As for my mood, I think it's 5 or 6 out of 10. A little bit worried, a little bit, a lot of things happening to me this week, so much sleep will be good today. I hope that I will have it. So please, Khalid.
Hey guys, I feel very energetic and very tired at the same time. Given that I've just done 10 kilometers of cross-country skiing, so feel full of energy, but at the same time feel very tired because it's been a crazy, very tiresome week at Sberbank where I work. I'm working now on the unlocking of the Chinese market for the bank. So unfortunately, I don't have too much resources. So I'm sort of leading the effort, and lots of pressure and lots of basically work is on my shoulders. But I'm happy of having this task, because this is what I've been dreaming to do for a long time. I mean, working with the Chinese market and trying to unlock its value for Russia, and especially for Sberbank, because so far nobody has achieved this goal. And plus, I had a couple of parties this week and had lots of drinks. So altogether, I feel like 7 out of 10, but feel happy at the same time. Thank you. So who shall I pass it on to? Can I pass it on to Eva Chumachenko, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would rate it as 5 out of 10. I'm currently in Moscow, and it's quite sunny here, which is good. But I liked Anton's phrase about that sleep is king or queen, whatever. I actually would like to know how, guys, you are staying productive and how you're staying so energetic. If you're sleeping less than 8 hours, because this is not my case, I would like to hack that. And it's actually one of my part of my sustainable development plan to sleep 8 hours per day, because yes, it does affect your productivity, it does affect your whole life. And as I didn't sleep 8 hours, I was not feeling very well until we started this meeting. As an extrovert, I took a benefit from other people. So I would like to thank you all for sharing all of that. And it's already, I think, +1 point for me. And we're only starting. I'm looking forward to all the content, amazing content that is planned for us today. So yeah, we'll pass it over back to Anton, I think, or Ashraf hasn't said anything yet. Ashraf, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here. So hello, everyone. My name is Ashraf Azami, and I'm a new community manager of SDG Plus Club. So actually, my areas of interest are the sustainable development, or college counseling and media management, and I would love to find out more how are your about your individual sustainable development plans, and how actually how can I build my own sustainable development plan and develop my community by knowing each other and sharing future plans. Thank you.
I think also Anna and Alex haven't talked yet. So Anna, you're still searching the right place.
I can take it. I mean, it's gonna be still rainy, but yeah, hi. I'll just take it on the go then. In terms of the mood, I think it's actually 8 out of 10, even though the weather is pretty shitty. I'm in Berlin. It's very, very gloomy, I would say, and wet. As for the rest, I actually, yeah, that's my first time joining the call, and thanks, Anton, for inviting. And that sounds already like a very vibrant and brilliant community. So happy to be here. In terms of the week, I actually recently got back from Moscow about 2 weeks ago and joined a new department and a new role in Zalando, which is a big e-commerce in Europe. So yeah, now in product, building some new fun tools for this pretty big company. But excited about the team and actually feel a huge difference to what I've been doing before. So pretty inspired, meeting a lot of people, and the leadership within this part of the business is pretty visionary. So happy to have those around. In terms of, let's say, what else to mention? Actually, I can relate a lot to the partying since the onboarding was filled with parties, and yeah, maybe I should have slept better and longer. But I think I changed that trend yesterday because I started my day with Zumba and sauna in the morning. So it actually flipped the coin. And yeah, now I actually feel that next week would be even better and more productive because I would do more sports and less drinks. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan, and looking forward to today's session. Thank you all.
And Alex is left. So Alex, would you like to, yeah, and Ilya also. So Alex, would you like to tell a few words?
Anton, shortly, please, would you please present me, because my English is very bad. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So Alex is the best. That's the shortest I can give. Okay, so yeah, so Alex, we got acquainted in Sber, as with a lot of you. It's a nice place to get acquainted with people. And Alex is a guru in terms of digital transformation as a service. So basically it was him who recommended me to EPAM. So thanks to him, I am here. And I can't be more grateful to you, man. So I wouldn't stop repeating my gratitude. So and I think it would be great for you to get acquainted with David, because I feel that you, like, I have a gut feeling you have a lot in common. And by the way, Alex is also, again, probably one of the best, probably the best networker that I know. So anytime you need a right person with the best match to fit a position, just any position, especially in terms of digitalization, transformation, consulting, things of the sort, Alex either already knows one, or he can make those 6 handshakes, or even for him, it would be just a couple. So the last route, okay, time to market would be faster.
Very shortly. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and yeah, he would be able to find the right person for you. Okay, so just reach out to him. He knows everybody, and he's connecting the dots, and he has connected the dots for me. And it would seem to be impossible, especially in these times, but he managed. So again, he is a magician. He's making impossible things real. And yeah, so Alex, you asked to keep it short. And Ilya, I see your ask as well. So with Ilya, we got acquainted unusually not in Sber. So it was Alpha Bank, also a bank. But I think we kind of were indirectly acquainted even before Alpha through this, again, I think one of the best universities in Russia. I probably won't be able to pronounce the correct name in English, but it's like a Moscow Institute for Economics and Statistics and Informatics. It was called, I think, MASI, kind of a Russian abbreviation. And it was acquired basically by Plekhanov Economic University, which I was studying at. So basically, we were studying at the same university, and my university acquired his university. And I kind of think like half of my employees in Alpha and then in Sber were from MESI. So I still think this is the best source of candidates, again, in terms of management consulting, informatics, business consulting, digitalization, IT, and management, et cetera, And Ilya really helped me to build the case on probably, again, the best digital talent management system in Russia, in Sber. So yeah, thank you, Ilya. And Ilya has written, probably he's unique in this kind of revelation, written a book, a philosophical book. Again, I don't know how to translate it correctly into yeah, Happy Bees. It's called Happy Bees in Russian. So hope one day, yeah, we've even discussed that with Ilya, we would be able to translate at least one page of it, an executive summary, into English and publish it so that it will be accessible to the English-speaking audience. But again, he has made a thorough work. Probably he has spent 10 years on that. So he has made his 10,000 of hours. And yeah, he's probably the most knowledgeable in terms of philosophy among all of us present here. So please address him in terms of digital tools, talent management, and philosophy, including Stoicism probably as well. So yeah, and he is smiling, but yeah, so he is shy. Okay. And we have Olga, who has connected. So Olga, can you please also share, where are you, how are you feeling, what's your mood, etc.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm actually in the guest right now, so multitasking. And I'm feeling good. I'm in Copenhagen right now. The weather is fine compared to the yesterday storm. So yeah. And I'm very happy to see all of you. And I prepared my short presentation of Wake Up Soft Skills project that I will present in the end of our meeting, almost at the end of our meeting. So yeah, that's all. Thank you, Anton. And also, I prepared my plan for this year about sustainable development with my personal KPIs. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Looking forward. So, Evgenia, who is our first speaker today on the agenda?
Sorry, I was on mute. Our first speaker is Lev, and I'm actually looking forward to his speech a lot. He touched upon this topic last time we met in January. It's integral personal development as a methodology and approach to building your life. And Lev, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Ella. Well, greetings to everyone who joined live, but also to everyone who will be watching sort of the video recording. We haven't met with everyone yet, or at least we haven't had long discussions. So I look forward to sort of sharing some of my stories. The reason I suggested, or we spoke with Anton and with Eva about making this small presentation, is that when we speak about sustainable development, and as we know, the name of our club is SDG Plus. So we don't only talk about, the ecology of the planet, social development, sort of the large scale concepts, processes, and tasks, but we also talk about this plus. And plus is our own development, right? Our personal development, development of our colleagues, our friends, our family members. And when I was presenting my sort of plan for developmental plan for 2023, I noticed that everything I do is informed by what's called integral approach. And I know that Dmitry Riman practices it for many years and helps many organizations to do this. And because it's such a powerful practice, I thought it would be interesting to share it with those of us who have not heard of it. I know that some people, of course, also know it very well and practice it. And so this is really a quick introduction, not so much to the methodology or to the integral theory or integral approach, but really to my personal experience with it, to show on an example of one particular person how applying those principles and tools could be helpful in your life, in your professional activities, in your sort of growth and development. And it's very funny. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and every night, or almost every night, I share some, fairy tales with her. And I noticed that when she turned 6, it was about a month ago, our conversations before her going to sleep became much more development oriented. So we don't just talk about some fairies and some magic creatures or some other sort of historical stuff, but we talk about how those characters develop, how they face their life challenges. And it happened unexpectedly. We just had one of those nights, and I was telling the story, and it became like a lesson in a way, but in a very sort of motivating and interesting way. And so when I realized that our 5, 10, 15 minutes before her going to sleep, I turned from just interesting pastime to really a session of reflection and exploration and discovery of developmental concepts, it became really precious for me as a father to share those things with her. And I found a way, because I was always a little bit unsure how to talk with a child about those things. And I'm sure you have your own ways, those who have children. So it would be nice if you share some of your ways, either later on when we have a sort of Q&A or basically discussion part after maybe 15 minutes of presentation. But also if you mention something in the chat, so we don't forget, it would be interesting how you work with, or how you communicate with children, how you create learning opportunities in your life. Anyway, so just to quickly share, I'm 49 years old, surprisingly. I remember I was 20 recently, but now it's 49. So as my parents and grandparents always said, that time goes by very fast. So I discovered it now. I live currently between Seattle and Vancouver, most time in Canada, sometimes in the United States for the last 6 or 7 years. I came here to write a book with my colleagues from Vancouver, and somehow I'm still here. So I had plans to go back to Europe, but actually I was planning to do it this year. But with all the, all the war and all the developments over there, I'm not sure that my family will be very sort of happy to move there right away. So for a couple of years more, we're certainly here. And there are a lot of people who practice integral approach in Vancouver, in the United States, in Canada, in Europe. There are lots of conferences, lots of events, lots of projects. And I represent, together with Anton and Pavel Luksha, one of those initiatives. It's a global initiative called Living Cities Earth. It's about integral development of people, communities, organizations, cities as complex living systems or ecosystems, as well as bioregions and our planet as a whole. So it's a multi-level, multi-perspectival approach. I won't talk about it much today because I'll focus on the personal part of it, but it's all interconnected. All those levels or hollands of reality, they really affect each other in a very sort of direct way, and I will also mention it. Let me quickly open up the presentation. I guess that should be it. Yes, so the Living Cities Earth is my principal project today. It's a very young one, and we do it together with about 40 other co-founders from 17 countries and 5 continents. And our focus today, we see our beautiful logo of SDG plus. I love the plus. So we'll talk about human metamorphosis, or how we basically transform ourselves, right? How from a humanity which is focused on consumption and conflict and self-preservation, how we move to the state, and in this first stage there is no real sustainable development. It's impossible to create sustainable development when internally we are unsustainable, psychologically, physically, financially, etc. So integral approach, one of the things, and we'll go to more sort of details in a second, but one of the things it talks about is how our internal world is connected to our external actions and all the systems and processes and infrastructures we built in the external world. And the simple idea is that unless we have this sustainable development inside, we will never achieve sustainable development outside. We could build frameworks, we could have conferences, we could have global agreements, but unless people build this framework and mindset internally and collectively as a culture, unfortunately, we will never achieve the desired results on the outside. So the essence of our SDG plus club is extremely important from this respect, because we work on ourselves individually as well as collectively as a group, support each other, and then bring this philosophy and culture to our families, our work teams, and then we sort of become the building blocks of the society which will be able to achieve sustainable development goals on a global stage. If you see, I put also a small point in the bottom right corner, integral development as a cradle for human happiness and creativity. And another idea of integral development is that it's not that we're developing towards something we don't have, right? We're at a certain level, and then we develop somewhere we have never been before, and rather integral development talks about the fact that each person has tremendous potential in different dimensions on different levels, and what we do, we really uncover and manifest what's already there. Like a seed of a plant, it grows into a full blown tree or a bush. A human could grow into a beautiful sort of living being with all sorts of faculties, capacities, competences, abilities. And the integral map, which we'll see in a second, it basically shows what humans are capable of if they consciously and on a continuous basis, as we try to do it here at SDG Plus Club, focus their attention, their energy on various practices of personal human development. So it becomes basically a bedrock, right? A foundation for not only our success in the world, but also for our happiness, because we work with our states of consciousness, states of energy, and also for our creativity, or how we manifest in the external world. If we forget everything of what I say today, I want us to remember those 5 things. It's a very simple sort of instrument. It's called the 5 ups. And in the integral approach, we talk about growing up, waking up, opening up, cleaning up, and showing up. I'll touch upon each one of those in a second. But the idea basically is that as a human being, when we think about our childhood or school years or university years, Anton mentioned university today, and each one of us was going through some developmental processes, formal processes, I mean, in a school. The most important, of course, always was the cognitive development. So learning new ideas, new tools, new sort of systems, new theories, some practical, of course, knowledge, competences, and skills. And when actually I work in a company where we interview in a board of directors, so we interview other sort of managers and top managers, I don't know, a few people every month, because we grow pretty fast. And I noticed that when we talk about development, most people, even on the high paid positions, they always think about professional development, mostly. How they learned a new language, or how they learned something about finance, or management or leadership. And integral approach offers a much more broad perspective on how a human being could develop and why it is important. So to quickly cover those 5 points: growing up, waking up, opening up, cleaning up, and showing up. So what does it mean to grow up? In integral approach, and it's based on a collection of about 200 different scientific approaches from psychology, philosophy, biology, and many, many other fields. So integral approach tried to synthesize, create a synthetic map of reality, of how we live our life, what are the developmental patterns. And the growing up basically talks about how we go from one level of complexity and level of understanding who we are and what we are living through to a different levels. We'll see a map later on. And it's a constant process, and most people grow up in a natural way, but normally I'll quickly show this map. So we'll take a look at it later in a little bit more detailed fashion, but there are several levels. They are marked by different colors for simplicity. And normally a person goes through each level and could take in our regular life from 5-10 years to the whole life. So some people feel more or less connected to a specific level of reality and level of development for many, many years. And when you start conscious practice, you could and have some support structures and some environment which allows you, like our club, for example, to focus your attention and to do some practices in a more regular fashion. You could really speed up your developmental patterns, and it opens up amazing opportunities, which I'll talk about later on. So growing up is basically developing your consciousness in a multiple dimensions, and each person can do it on a daily basis. So I discovered integral approach in 2010, which was what, 12 years ago, and ever since it was really a beautiful journey, because your life becomes like a bliss. Whatever you do, you just consider it as a developmental opportunity, whether you have good days or bad days, whether you feel full of energy or you don't have energy, whether you slept 10 hours or 3 hours, you have this witness, right? You develop very quickly, by the way, this constant presence of your consciousness, which observes basically your life moment by moment. And you can correct, it's like a pilot in a plane. So the plane is flying up or down. There are some, different weather conditions. But if you have a pilot is a person who observes the reality and could direct the plane wherever it needs to go. So through different practices in this grow up line, you really become a master, an author of your life, and it gives you a lot of freedom. You really become a person who enjoys life in any condition. Again, you could be sick, you could have illnesses, you could have high temperature, fever, but still, because you have this witnessing presence, you are a little bit distanced from specific circumstances of your life, and this gives you power to operate it in a more conscious, more clear way. So growing up, that's what it's about, and I will come back to this in a few seconds, in a few minutes, basically. So waking up, amazing thing. Most people don't even think about it. So what's waking up? Waking up is basically finding your personal ways. Every person has a different path of connecting to a larger reality, right? The universe, sort of the larger existence. I remember myself sort of growing up, and most people have the same experience when we see ourselves as a body, as a name, as a family history, as a personal history, as a set of different, conditions we're going through in our life. We remember those stories. We have some thoughts going through our mind, and that's basically who we are. Our ego construct is how we understand ourselves, and most people think about themselves as a separate individuals living in a world where there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of troubles. People with good karma, they see more opportunities. People with bad karma and sort of more negative vision, they have much more troubles and difficult life conditions. But when you consciously take this line of waking up, again, you use different practices to really move from this what's called egocentric view of reality, first to ethnocentric, when you become connected to other people in a much more direct way. You develop empathetic relationships. You start seeing people much better, understanding them, creating much closer connections. And what I do in my professional life also is I help people in a company where I work and in other professional circumstances to really develop those empathetic connections through opening up. That's not the open up, the third line, it's still in the waking up part. By opening up to the fact that we are all interconnected on the level of, our molecules, which go from one set of lungs to another, on the level of our ideas, ideals, our collective activities, etc. So waking up is basically a beautiful practice, or actually a set of many different practices, which allow you to go from your egocentric, which is a standard mode of operation, egocentric way of viewing who you are and your role in the world, to ethnocentric, when you feel connected to a group of people. It could be your family, your nation, your community, sort of intentional community, SDG plus club, etc. But then eventually you go to world-centric view, when you see yourself as connected to all of life. And it could happen to every person. It's again, it's a path which we could go through in a conscious and systemic way. And when you reach this world-centric view, again, it gives you a tremendous joy and tremendous power. Because if at the ego and ethnocentric level, you feel connected to something, yourself or your group of people, but disconnected from everything else, you feel sort of isolated. There is self and others, right? The traditional way of looking at the world. But when you go to the world-centric view, at some point you really feel that everything which goes on in the world is directly connected to you. And with this witnessing presence I mentioned before, and that's the kind of conscious presence we develop in our mind stream, you really become an actor and observer, and but also a participant of all of life, which is constantly changing, moving in different ways. So I see that I have to speed up. Sorry, I became very detailed. So opening up, we'll see in a second, it's different lines of development. Again, there is a cognitive line, there is emotional line of development, there is a aesthetic, and many others. We'll see them in a second. It's basically in the bottom. Oh, it's right here. So when we think about self-development, as I said, there is a cognitive line, and that's what most people think about. We could talk about professional line of development, emotional intelligence, relational, how we relate to other people, or it's also called social intelligence. There is a moral line of development, spiritual, kinesthetic, sexual, or aesthetics, etc., etc. So there are many different lines of how we can develop ourselves, and they are not directly correlated. So you could be a very highly intellectually developed person with a very low moral, right? Or you could be extremely developed spiritually, but very stupid from the intellectual cognitive standpoint. So while cognitive line of development is considered to be the principal one because it helps you to operate better your sort of your mind, your cognitive sort of skills, and it helps understanding other lines in different circumstances, but still it's really important in your integral practice to pay attention to different lines of development and also see which ones are sort of, lacking your attention and sort of are far behind. Okay, I'll stop here. I won't go much into the details here. And so the next, the fourth item is cleaning up. What's cleaning up? Again, for in my personal life, I was a relatively smart person. I studied in sort of the school for high potential kids, etc. But I never knew about cleaning up until I was maybe 28 or 30 years old. And cleaning up today, of course, people know much more about it, but still, it's a very important line of development and practice to bring into your life. Is working with your traumas, your shadow sort of psychological conditions, your complexes, psychological complexes, etc. So each person, as we grow in a pre-birth stage, right, prenatal, in our childhood, even in our adult life, we meet some difficult circumstances, whether we understand them consciously or not, right? We have fears, we have conflicts, and all of them, they create some imprints in our psyche. And then when we operate in our daily life, normally we don't keep track of everything which happened to us before, but all of those imprints, they affect our worldview, how we see what's going on. Just yesterday, I spoke with one of the executives in this company, a young woman who is now sort of responsible for all the sales, corporate sales, retail sales, as well as a couple of other functions in a company. And when we spoke with her, she told me, I was really depressed for last 5 months since September, really depressed. It's very difficult for me to work and do huge amount of work which I have to do. So you don't have to be a spiritual person sitting, in the mountain retreat. You could be an executive in a fast developing company, but you would still have the same issues because you had a childhood, right? You had an elder sister, for example, in her case, and your parents would always pay attention to your elder sister, but not to you. And even when you grew up, you still keep this unfulfilled need of attention, love, and recognition, which you didn't receive sufficiently in your childhood. And it will affect everything you see, and then it will affect how you work and how your hundreds of or thousands of team members work under you if you're a leader in a company. So cleaning up is really important, and it comprises several steps. There are many ways of working with your inner psychological sort of situation. But number one, it's observation. You sort of, by developing this conscious witness or conscious presence, whatever happens on your emotional level, you look at it and you understand, okay, I'm sad, right? Or I feel depressed, or I spoke with my boss or my colleague or my wife or my husband or my children, and I feel that I'm desperate, or I don't know, I'm angry at how they do whatever they do. And normally there are reasons for us to be sad, angry, etc. But this luggage from past experiences, it really multiplies and amplifies our current perceptions. So on a level of 1 to 10, for example, the situation would ask you to be angry at 2 out of 10, but your past luggage, your past experience adds to how you see the situation, and instead of being angry at the level of 2 out of 10, you are angry at your boss or your wife or your husband at a level of 8 out of 10. And every man and every woman, I'm sure, have had some experience of this in your personal relationships. And if you know, there is this guy, Eckhart Tolle. He has his beautiful book called something about present. I'll write it in the chat. And I read it maybe 15 years ago, and there is one of the chapters, chapter number 8, and it talks about conscious relationships. I was in a difficult relationship at the time. It was beautiful and difficult. And I didn't understand, because I was a very rational person, always sort of oriented towards science and rational reasoning and all of those things. And I couldn't understand why in our relationship with my beloved person, we have all of those emotional troubles, how it could be, because I love her, she loves me, etc., etc. And when I read this chapter number 8, now it's like almost like a small Bible. I recommend it to everybody who has some troubles in their life, because it clearly, it shows you the map of what goes on in your inner life or in your psyche, what goes on in the psyche of the other person, how each one of us has this pain body, right? The sort of a complex of all the past negative experiences which affect our vision of what's going on right now. And so cleaning up is an extremely important, I would say, well, each one of those is important, but I would say clean up is a top 3 out of those 5. It's a practice. If you don't have it, or if you don't have it enough, or your sort of colleagues, your friends, your family, if they don't have it, explore it, see how it could be introduced into your life or life of people whom you care about, because it will improve life, and it will clean up your relationships or your personal sort of situation in a way I mean, many people don't even expect. Life becomes beautiful, period. Whatever happens, right? The external circumstances stay the same. The war, the lack of resources, conflicts, etc. But the way you look at them and the way you process whatever happens in your life becomes completely different. And it's not by neglecting them, right, or building the walls that I don't want to experience those emotions. No, it's just because you clean up your mess. You are not responsible for it, but we all have those messy feelings from the past. And by bringing them into your field of attention, right, your attention clears many things up, and then there are some other practices which allow you to really become a lighter person, a more sort of happy person, and your outlook on life changes tremendously. So that was cleaning up, and then showing up. It has 2 meanings. One of them is more complex. It's basically it's the invitation to understand the whole map of reality, and in whatever you do, try to pay attention to all possible aspects of situation. Let's forget about this one, it's a more complex one, but also there is a very simple one. Showing up is basically how we manifest in the world, how we do different projects, how we help other people, how we lead different initiatives. And what integral approach suggests is, before making our active steps in the world, for example, rooting for sustainable development or for peace or for many other things, or at least at the same time, to pay attention to the previous 4 points. Because why is it important? If we do not work on cleaning up our psyche and we just go and make positive changes in the world, quite a few leaders who have been doing this later turned out that they have been psychotic sort of tyrants who had their childhood problems, and they were trying to compensate, basically, to get attention from the world for the good things they're doing. But it was very unbalanced, or at some point they had some cracks in how they do it. They went to some immoral stuff because they wanted to keep, not to really making the world a better place, but keeping to being in the center of attention and receiving all the positive, feedback, and being loved or liked by the people, etc. A famous example, for example, is American actress Marilyn Monroe, who committed suicide. And actually many actors or musicians and artists commit suicide. Of course, everyone has very different circumstances and situations, so it's not a judgment about people who commit suicide, not at all. But it's just an observation by many psychologists that many people of creative professions, they go into, especially performing professions like actors, they go there because they need the limelight, right? The attention of people, of many people. And the reason is because very often in the prior sort of like childhood, they didn't have enough attention, so they want to get to compensate, but they do it unconsciously. Instead of cleaning up their psyche and becoming best possible performing actors in whatever field they choose, they do it based on unconscious and unclear motivation of getting love, attention from other people, and at some point it leads to very negative situations in their life. So before showing up, before manifesting, or at least at the same time, we're already grown-up people, so we do show up every day, we do manifest ourselves in many different wonderful projects, but it's very important to clean up, to work with our motivation, our perceptions. It will make us better leaders, to open up to different lines of development, because we see today people who have potentially, who are very intelligent, but who lack moral line of development, right? They do things which are not beneficial for other people in the world. And sustainable development is also about it, how we balance our personal activity with needs and activities of other people and the planet as an ecosystem. Waking up is extremely important. Why is it important? Because when we live from the egocentric perspective, and that's how most people start living their life, and most people live whole of their life from the egocentric perspective, without feeling the authentic connection with other people and the universe at large, we will always be those who mostly consume resources, consume attention, consume energy from other people, because we want to feed our ego, right? But when you wake up and you realize that you are just part of this beautiful universe, like, they say, a drop of the ocean, for many years, even before learning this integral approach, but I was practicing this in a way that I felt that what I called a unit of happiness which I receive for myself, for me is equal for the unit of happiness which I give to others. So very often when I needed, for example, money, I would give it to other people because I understand, well, they would use it and feel sort of positive emotions or less trauma, etc. Just because for me, their feelings were as important as my feelings, right? It doesn't mean that I give everything away and I sort of die in a few days of hunger, right? So I keep some level of consumption which I need to, operate properly. But otherwise, everything I earn, for example, I reinvest into different social or ecological or other initiatives, because I feel that everything is interconnected. And this is not that some people could have this perception and other people could not. It's just there are many practices which help you to develop this worldview and this very authentic sense of how life is organized. But most of us, including me until a certain age, we don't feel it. We hear about it, but it seems like a little bit rubbish or some crazy people. And ethnocentric, it's already much better than egocentric, right? It's when our family becomes important and we give to our children more than we give to ourselves. Or sometimes a community, a larger community, a professional community, and we, serve our friends or our colleagues in a way we don't serve people from another company or another community. So those people are within our circle of care and others are not. So it's also about integral development is also about consciously extending your circle of care from yourself to your close people you care about, sort of your family, your community, your professional team, but then to people you don't know, then to all of people, then to other forms of life, like animals, etc., and eventually to all of the what we call a ecosystem of planet Earth, and well, maybe even more. So I see that we have to finish in a couple of minutes, and I just started. It's my first slide out of, I don't know, 10 or 12. So let's see what we do now. I will quickly share, so I won't go through all of those things. I'll just share that how it applies to real life. So number one, when you start using those 5 practices, and you can read about them, there is a book, very simple. It's available in about 35 languages. It's called The Integral Vision. It's almost like a children's book in terms of it's written in a pretty large font, lots of pictures, so you can read it in one day without any problem, and it will change the way you look at the world. It really describes the integral vision and how you can apply it to your personal development, your professional situation, your social situation. But going back to to-do list, so what I invite us to do is to really discover for yourself, and I'm of course available. We can have a separate session at some point, maybe in a few weeks or in a few months, where we could talk about it more in detail and also have the real Q&A. But I really invite you to introduce some practices. It could be 1 minute a day, or some people can do those practices at the same time because it's your conscious presence. Whatever you do, you develop this conscious presence, and it's always with you. It's your helper, or actually it's your real higher self, so to say. And so I invite you to discover those 5 lines of practice: how to grow up, how to wake up, open up to different lines of development, clean up your inner stuff, and then manifest in the most skillful way. So we didn't talk much about how to manifest in the most skillful way, but I'll just give you one example. We used the integral approach to create what we call living cities community and methodology to work with cities. Let's see where it is. Here we go. So we look at cities as a complex ecosystems, which consist of people, communication between people, communities, but then there are, of course, administration or management of how the whole city operates. There are technologies, infrastructure, resources, but there is also culture, so different levels of reality. And when you look at the city from this perspective, so the city is not just roads and the city hall and then some financial, processes, but it's really a very complex system of different layers of reality. It really gives you a tremendous tools to change life in a city. And the specific example we took about maybe now 5 years ago, we worked with the mayor of a city. They had about 22,000 people, so a small city. And they were the last in the metrics. Anton likes metrics. So they were number 20 out of 20 cities in their region for the quality of life, quality of administration, etc. The last out of 20. And in 2 years of very diligently applying the integral approach to how they communicate with people, how they engage people, how they change economic situation, etc., it was a fantastic change. And it's impossible to believe it, but it's true because it's registered in the metrics. So they moved from number 20 on the list to number 1. And people who know how large system works, like companies, it takes years to change. The city even more. But they had this tremendous example because the mayor was applying the integral approach to his personal development, to the development of his team, to communication with all of the citizens, or most of the citizens in the city. They had a tremendous upsurge in their investments, in the economic situation, in the infrastructure. So on all of those 8 levels we see. And it started from how they changed their view of what the cities, what the communities, how they develop, how they operate, how they communicate, what are their goals, what are the resources available. They realize they already have all the resources inside. They just need to unlock them. And then they used those practices of really growing up, waking up, cleaning up, and showing up to do it. And so this guy, he was promoted to a mayor of a much larger city of 250,000 people now, and he applies the same approach over there very successfully. And so it works on a level of a human being, you become a much more, sustainable and happy and creative person, but also it works on a level of a family. We use it in our family, and on a level of professional community or company, on a level of a city and larger systems. So thank you very much. I sorry that we didn't have time for really Q&A, but maybe in the future we'll organize another session. Anton, Eva, thank you for letting me do this quick overview.
By the way, while Evgenia jumps in, do you think we have still some time for Q&A? Some comments, ideas? I think Dmitry won't have an opportunity to present himself. We can cut my talk today, so probably let's have at least 10-15 minutes for Q&A with Lev. Or Lev, you have to go, I know, right?
I could have 5. I signed up for a course which runs once a month on Saturdays, and the first session is today. So I'll have to go in 5 minutes, but if there is 1 or 2 questions, I will happily answer them, of course.
I'll just comment in 10 seconds that I have 13 comments. It's an average number I have for every presentation. I will post all of those in the chat and would be happy if you kind of reflect on that. But anybody else, feel free to jump in and just ask probably 1 question or something like that. Thank you, Lev. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was integral.
It's very funny when I speak English. I always have a doubt. Did people understand me? Hopefully, at least some of what they said.
Will. Ultimately, they will. Okay, so any comments, questions? Going 1, going 2.
No, I would like
Yes,
like to
Olga.
say that I'm totally agree with Lev, because this kind of things he describes from the first sign, it's maybe nothing special for most of, for example, people, or maybe they cannot see deeply and see that it's actually a really effect on our life and all our childhoods and all our emotions, everything around about our emotions and about our circle of life. And I'm totally agree that you need to clean up, wake up, and work with all those practices a little bit. And you will see that, I don't know, a great or a huge amount of value for yourself. And especially, it's like the same, just feel yourself. For me, it's like feel yourself. If you feel yourself, you will not be a toxic person. You will spread a lot of positive emotions, like Lev talked about, and you can help your surroundings, your world, to make sustainable development in a positive way. So it's like a circle of Saturn. I don't know if anybody understands me. So it's like it's like a positive infection. And of course, you need to feel yourself. You need to identify what you want. Start from yourself. It's very important. I know it because of myself, and I can see that not all of my friends, not all of my family, they understand this, unfortunately, still. So maybe only 10-15% of all people, they understand that it's actually very important. And thank you, Lev, for that.
Thank you.
Okay, Lev, so good luck with your course. Come back with a summary of the course.
I will.
Yeah,
it's called the science of self-realization. So
beautiful.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I especially love the first part of the name.
Yes, I knew it.
Yeah. So yeah, would really happy to kind of know a little bit more about the course. Yeah. So again, thank you very much. Really, very much appreciated. Good luck, in your day. We'll catch up later, and see you in the chat and the next meeting, etc., etc.
Cheers.
Bye. So yes, Evgenia, who is next?
Dmitry Riman was supposed to be the next, but I see a comment from him that his connection is not stable. So
I will try.
I would like to double check with you, Dmitry. Maybe it's stabilized.
Yeah,
Right. You're welcome.
I changed. I turned to cell phone from notebook. I hope that it will be better. So I'm very glad to be here with you, and it's an honor to speak after Lev, because I think she's one of the smartest people I know, and I took place in Living Cities Foundation in 2020. We made a forum with Lev and the team. It was wonderful experience. So I will talk a little bit about myself. I'm 40 years old. I'm from Samara. I almost all my life I lived in Samara till 2019. Then I moved to Moscow, and at the beginning of this year I moved to Thailand, and now I live in Pangan. I hope to make it one of my homes, and I hope that my next home will be also Georgia. So now I'm in the process of building some new life, not as a Russian citizen, but as a citizen of the world. And it's a very important path for me. So about myself, about professional path, I have 20 years experience in business. I started very early. In 21, I became the CEO of a company, rather big company, especially for 21 years old. It was in the oil and gas equipment. We produce oil and gas equipment. So 13 years I worked as a top manager in different areas. I was the member of the board of directors in building company, and also I built a concrete factory. I don't know, is it maybe not concrete? No, okay, something like concrete factory. And in 2015, I quit as a top manager, and I made my consulting company, and it exists to nowadays. It's a company named Dream Team, and we help companies and people to, especially companies, to create strong and united, as I can say, teams. I work with different companies, big companies, for example, Leroy Merlin. Worked a lot with them, both in central office and regional, in shops and in regional teams. Also, I work as a mentor and coach for founders and for CEOs. So I had a lot of experience, but I can't say that I'm an entrepreneur. I feel like one of my best experience is for leading the teams. I think it's one of my strengths. So it's a little bit about professional way, but last 10 years, I think more important for me is my, I don't know how to say, inner way, spiritual way. It started in 2011 during my trip to Sri Lanka. And also my grandmother died these days. I don't know, it was coincident or something like this, but it started big changes in myself. And now I can say that some mindfulness practices is a very big part of my life. And I try to combine mindful practices and the business practices. It's very interesting because I see in all companies and for all people, for all leaders, that inner state is a main part of the result. or as Otto Scharmer said, it's a blind spot. Often this is a blind spot of the leader. So I work with the inner state of the leaders, inner state of the teams. It's very interesting. It's something is a little bit unusual for businessmen, because most of them just maybe start to use some these practices, but I liked it a lot. And I think that I can say that I'm a master of mindfulness. Now I see a lot about myself, and sometimes it's a big talent, sometimes it's a very big problem, because to see a lot about it's not good information. Sometimes it's not very good information about myself. So also something about my private life. I have 2 children. They live in Samara with my first wife, the daughter and the son. What else? I like traveling, I like sport, I like bike riding. So in Thailand, I ride the bike, and I'm very happy to be here. It's one of the main reasons that I came to this club is to be in a really global community. And Anton, thank you very much for this opportunity to be the part of the global community. Like it very much. So if you need something about my experience, I'm ready to talk to you, and to maybe to give some advices, or just talk about your issues, my issues. I'm open for it. So I'm ready to answer any questions if you're interested something about myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Dmitry. A quick question. Are you acquainted with Maxim Spiridonov?
I don't know him in private, but I've heard about him, and I read some about of his topics, and I know that he also has a club now. So he is very interesting entrepreneur.
Yeah, so that was my suggestion, because I think like your area of expertise and interests and exploration is kind of 99% fit for the purpose and philosophy of his club, because he's talking about bringing together the mindfulness and the business. So that's the main purpose basically of the club. And if you need, I can, kind of make this connection, and probably it will yield something fruitful for both of you.
Yeah, thank you, Anton, very much. Yes, I will write you a message about it when I will be ready. There are a lot of ways now to give energy, so I choose what is better now. Thank you very much for your offer.
Yeah, so no competition here. Just the purpose is to find the perfect match for everybody. And yeah, I just felt it's kind of, yeah, as Lev said, so having a broader vision and sharing the unit of happiness isn't giving away. Okay, so that's the philosophy. Yes, again, thank you very much. Happy having you here. And Evgenia, so
I have a question.
Okay.
Dmitry, first of all, thank you very much for this self-presentation, and actually telling so much about your life and about your professional background as well. You mentioned that currently you're working with inner state of leaders and teams, and this whole topic of leadership, I think, is very interesting. It's like everybody can relate to it, because we either lead teams or we're part of a team that is led by someone. From what you said, you accumulated huge amounts of experience and information, and maybe insights and observations about how these systems work. So I just wrote that probably you could just tell a little bit about your discoveries, or that could potentially be a topic or something that you could talk more about. like what are the common mistakes, what are the best practices, what are the widespread problems, something that you encounter on a daily basis with all the leaders and all the teams, or on the other side, some unique cases. So I think that leadership is very much connected to the whole topic of well-being. And if you are a leader, you take the responsibility and you work with other people and you ultimately affect their inner state as well. So maybe there's like some, I don't know, magic pill or life path that would help all of us to become better leaders, or maybe better members of a team. Like leading people who are not the same as you are can be tough at times as well.
Thank you very much for your interest. You know, maybe I can also make some presentation, short presentation, 20-30 minutes on one of the next sessions. But if I say about one thing, I will maybe add to Lev and say about shadows of the leader. Because, for example, now I work with two co-founders that have some conflict between them. And the situation is showing very,
vividly.
One of them is a shadow of, one of them is a shadow of another, and the other is the shadow first. And the conflict is because of this. So I think that leaders have a lot of influence for the people. So their shadows affect a lot for the company, for the culture of the company, and for the people. So cleaning up is a very important thing. In my last work, it was one of the most important things. But it's very interesting for me to structurize my experience and maybe to give 4 or 5 main points that I see in companies and in leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that would be very interesting. I mean, like, yeah, surely leadership could be like a topic of a separate week-long conference, and everybody would be interested to also dig deeper into this topic. But yeah, it just, you know, triggered me because you said that you were working with this specific topic, inner state of a leader, and how we can work with that to make our teams happier and to make teams more productive and achieve better results in a sustainable way. So that is something that I personally would love to hear about. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if it's possible, Dmitry, I would like to ask you, maybe we can look at each other in a cooperation way, you and the project I will present later. I can see that we can match in some points each other very well.
Yeah, with great pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. We should move forward, I guess, if no one has any more comments or questions. And we've got Ruslan. Ruslan, are you with us? The microphone, the camera are switched off. Jump in.
Everything
Feel
is
free
turned
to.
on, microphone and camera.
Yeah, it's okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we can hear you quite poor, I would say. So you're not that loud. Can you make yourself louder, please? Not so quiet.
And now?
Much better, thank you.
Much better, but for me it's much worse. Say something, somebody.
Hi.
We can see you, and I think that we can hear you better than before. So thank you for that adjustment.
Yeah, we will listen to you, and then you can switch off the headset and listen to us. So you can switch the gears during
Yes.
your presentation.
Everything is okay. I hear you well. Hope you hear me well too.
That's it. Thank you.
In advance, I'm sorry about my English because I have a few opportunities to speak on it, but I understand quite well, as I think. Understand and hear quite well, but speaking skill is a little bit in dormant state, you know. And first I will present ISDP. It's the things, there's not all the things, but the things that I would like to share with you. And then I will tell a little bit about myself, I think, and about the project that I will mention here in this ISDP. So as I made in teaser, it is split in several parts of my life. There are some legs because nothing interested in there. I mean, hobbies and leisure, etc. Two more areas. So work, the main thing for me for this year is to find a job with sufficient income, because I have the amount that is sufficient for me, and to try to make this, to get the job as a sustainable job, you know. For example, banking, and for example, if I will be a product owner in some kind of loan product, it would be for me not a very sustainable thing, because for example, I'm Muslim, yes, and I do not want to just make money on time, giving the money to people and just making the income on just while money are somewhere in the text. Sorry. Hope you understood me. So the next part, wealth. I would try to sell some kind of property that is left in Russia, and to the goal is to make my passive income more than active income that I get from a job. It will give me much more flexibility and freedom in finance way. That is very important. Also, that wasn't managed to reach in 2022 because of reasons. My debt is not zero yet, but I will try to make it zero. I mean, mortgage and other loans. So health, it's the most transparent for me part. Lifeum, I will present a little bit about this project where I participate as a CPO. So Lifeum is a kind of health checkup. So Lifeum markers are good. I will make some 2 checkups in this year, and will monitor all the markers. Weeks with 150 plus minutes of aerobic exercise. It is the number based on a lot of health researches, examinations, not examinations. Okay, как сказать, исследование.
Research.
Okay, health researches. Yes, this kind of aerobic exercise, 150 minutes in a week, is the most good figure to make it better for the health. Okay, health checkups I said. So the weight goal is 75 kilo. And fat level 16%. Then this family and friends, actually there are only family now. There is. So about kids, I think it will also appear in the giving give part of the ISDP. So I wrote in 2022 education strategy for my both kids, and this year is a year of implementation of it, and also to make some review of it because of the educating now in the English school. So it gives a lot of things from the strategy already. So better apartments to live, it's some kind of routine. Family med checkups, it's also a kind of thing where I have to convince my family mates to make that kind of thing and to rule them to a better, healthy way of living. So, and spirituality, I don't know if I would be able to do this because it's kind of logistically hard and also expensive thing. It's a Hajj. I'm as a Muslim. I decided to make this thing some year, but previous year I planned it for this year, so I'll try to do it this year. For me, it's like, you know, some people go to forests of Amazonia to take some drugs and to make some rituals with French people, and they feel like their mind moves to another level, and they just try start to understand themselves like in another way. So for me, this kind of thing is I'm telling this just to you to not feel me like a very religiostic people, human. But for me, it's a very important thing. So, and finish reading the Quran in a, you know, it's not a word by word translation. It's kind of 4 big books with 3,000 pages. So, and giving part of ISDP is, you see, it's a little bit smaller than the take one. I will try to write 3+ articles, I think, in health tech on English, which is challenge for me, and publish them in some kind of English language media. Then I will try to grow Lifeum startup where I'm CPO for 10 times valuation. Then about kids strategy and the med checkups, I already said. I know maybe it's very few things, but they're concrete. I hope I will manage to do this. Why Lifeum startup is here? Because I am doing it for free now. That's why it's giving thing. So, how many minutes I have left?
Well,
Evgenia?
actually, there is no rigid agenda, so I think that you have enough time. It's written that we need to finish at 18:35, so you have 6 minutes more. But I mean,
okay,
if anything resonates with anyone, feel free, guys, to jump in or comment. Or if you haven't finished yet, Ruslan, then you have.
No, I just wanted to. I promised to tell about myself, my experience. So I'm 39 years old. I have 2 children, married, 9 and 5 years. So I've graduated Moscow's University of Economic Statistics and Informatics. Then I tried to make PhD there, but do not make a lot of efforts there and didn't manage to do this. My experience based on IT, I think I worked in every role of IT product development cycle. I mean, I was QA, developer, system analyst, business analyst, project manager, finally PMO in Saliev Bank, also head of business analysis department. Then I totally moved to business positions. For example, in Maritime Bank, I was implementing strategy of retail business development. We made the whole brand new card product, set of card products. And the last 5 years I worked in Sberbank, and last 2 years I think I worked with Anton in our direction, which was we were developing ecosystem of Sberbank, also made some innovations in a way more like venture startups, finding partners, etc. And also our responsibility was to develop ESG and all of this for 3 main businesses of Sberbank, like insurance, wealth management, and pensions. So from the 1st of July, I do not work anywhere except a Lifeum startup that I will also say tell you about some words about it now. Yes, also I founded several startups, but they were dead before they were born. Is the best, I think. I think is the best result of the startups. Maybe this one was a little bit different because Sberbank is a startup in the internal accelerator of Sberbank. So we were in a top 25 teams in that accelerator. That's it about me, and I will tell you about the startup Lifeum. Sorry, my family mates came from the education, and if it's loud, tell me, please. Okay, Lifeum is a startup that was founded. Lifeum is a startup that was founded by Dmitry Riman. Maybe somebody of you know him. The guy, in fact, he was interested in area of life extension, and he just started to study all of the researchers, medical researchers in that area, and as a side effect, he created an algorithm that based on 1,500 clinical researchers, so scientific researchers, and it uses 15,000 rules, and this algorithm makes a recommendation for a customer patient based on his blood test results, his anamnesis, and other things. So it's an interesting thing, as I understand, as I know it's a kind of unique in the world. And now we're trying to use also AI in our product. And we are now searching for money, raising around, but didn't manage to do this for a long time, about half a year, but anyway, we try to develop the product but very slow because all of our team members work just on enthusiasm without any money share and everything. Just so it's a kind of like a hobby, I think. But the product is very interesting. And now we are trying to localize it in Indonesia and in Kyrgyzstan. If you're interested in some details of it, I would. I will be honored to share it with you and to discuss with everything. Especially if you have money, venture money, we will discuss it. Very likely, very охотно. Sorry.
Happily. Happily.
Yes. So if you have any questions, I finished. If you have any questions, I would be glad to answer.
I'll just comment, Ruslan, that first of all, thank you very much for overcoming yourself and presenting in English. And I think it's great that you're trying to do that. I'll give you a couple of recommendations after this meeting. And
thank you very much.
I hope that will be useful for you. Yeah, so I would definitely be eager to help you in terms of writing your articles on health tech, because basically I've written a couple, so you can just reuse the vocabulary, the glossary that I used, and just rewrite it and update the researches, and that would be really very great. Yes, and of course about your startup. So I'll just reiterate myself and yourself that it's really a great startup. I really believe in it. I've already tried to help you to find some investment because I really believe in this startup. And again, so we talked about this. I think I can also help you to kind of probably repackage it so that it would be more investable. Because again, so I really believe it should be funded, but probably with a slightly different perspective from a slightly different angle, but still, so the core product would stay the same, right? So it's some kind of AI tool that helps you to define, to make this therapeutical diagnostics thing, right? So
Right.
Again, it's super valuable. So thank you for doing this. And I hope you would be able to complete all aspects of your individual development plan. Again,
Thank you very
I'm
much.
here to help, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. That's regarding the Lifeum, right? Just out of curiosity, and what is the model, like what's called money-making model? Is it by subscription? If I wanted to use it, what would be my step?
Yes, good question. Actually, we develop both of directions. Both of kind of products. It's B2C and B2B. So, but now we work mostly with physical persons, so B2C, and even now it works, but in Russian market. If you have Russian card, you can pay for it, and is a kind of web service. You just pay for the subscription, and then have your account where you just go through analysis, and then you make for additional money some examination, I mean blood test with recommended markers, and the algorithm assesses all the health risks and makes the health optimization plan. Then you can also have a consultation with our physician, but also for additional money. Did I answer your question, or it was about the more
Yeah, thank you. It created
monetization?
more questions actually, but I think that like a topic of separate discussion in terms of how business model works. Thank you, Anna, for prompting the word. Anybody wants to add anything or ask any additional questions?
I just want to call everybody, if you are in Moscow, then it is a must for you to pass this very checkup, because the number and the composition of the biomarkers is the most scientifically based I've ever seen. I have passed this checkup myself for about, I think, like 5 or 6 times. It's very optimized in terms of the price. So it will cost you only probably $200 each. And you can pass it as rarely as once a year, or probably biannually. So and it would give you a like a 80% of value for 20% of the price. So those biomarkers have the biggest predictive validity in terms of really making sense about what's it about your health, right? So and yes, and you can have this consultation afterwards to interpret all those results, and then the questionnaire also as a fill-in information, so that all goes into the model and it produces the recommendations. Then you would be able to interpret yourself, because it's kind of very intuitively and intuitive, and you can ask for this consultation or interpretation afterwards if you would like, and that would be enough. That would substitute tens of doctors for you, so it'd be much cheaper and quicker, really.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, my comment, apart from business model, which is like internal aspect of business, I would just recommend adding all those benefits onto the slides, because to be honest, I listened to you, but I did not see them. And once Anton jumped in and just told what it is in a nutshell, what the benefit for me as a client, I was like, oh, now you got me interested. So maybe this is something that your presentation could benefit from.
Yeah, so Evgenia, thank you for mentioning that. That was exactly what I meant when I suggested to Ruslan to repackage, because it's really kind of better than it seems. So we just need to focus on the right, value proposition, selling proposition, unique value proposition points. And it could be, yes, one slider, but it would be very, very selling. In a good sense.
Just a case. Yeah, it was just less than a minute, and then you turned my personal understanding and my personal kind of attitude 108 degrees. So
yeah, and it's very important for everybody, because when an investor invests, he also wants to understand what would be in it for me if I were a customer, and how easy it is to understand for a customer. And if it's easy and transparent and clear, then it's okay, because it would be good in terms of marketing, and I would be eager to invest because it was scalable, etc., etc. So yeah, this is the thing we need to focus on. And yes, Ruslan, let's just work on it. Again, it's a beautiful project, a beautiful product, a lot of effort put into it. So it really must yield the result, because it's really very unique in the market. So let's just do it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, now we've got Anna. Thank you, Anna, for joining us. I guess this is the first time we have you as a presenter. So the stage is yours, all the way from Berlin. You're welcome.
Thanks very much, Eva and Anton, for actually inviting me back in Jan. I couldn't make the January session, but hopefully it will work now. What about the background noise? Can you hear me fine, or is it just loud?
Yeah, it's okay.
But you actually can't hear. I can. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm in a public place, so I ended up in a cafe. That's the best I could get. So yeah, hope you'll bear with me. Let me maybe share the screen, and yeah, I could try to show you one slide. or it might not work actually because I'm on a different laptop today. Okay, maybe actually I can ask you, Eva, to help me.
slides up and ready, of course. Don't
That would be amazing. Yeah, if you can do that, there is no rocket science whatsoever there, but some hints. Yes, correct. Okay. I think I was doing some changes, but it doesn't really matter with me this version. So very shortly about myself. So actually currently I'm based in Berlin, Germany since 3 years, with a lot of back and forth to Moscow over pandemic. So I'll start with the geographical scope and go more into the professional and personal fits later. I was living and studying around Europe before that, some years back, but I was in Norway and France for 2 beautiful years for my MBA. Just an observation over here, since we're talking a lot about mindfulness and like self-reflection and let's say holistic human development. Norway was the country that actually triggered many things in me and helped me to transform and actually take a pretty different route, I would say, in terms of the personal development. It made me think more about, you know, in a very people-centric way, in terms of, you know, putting a lot of emphasis on the community and the well-being of us as a group, rather than a very individualistic sort of approach that was maybe that I grew up with in being Russian and living in Moscow the whole of my life before that. So I think that was kind of an important turning point. And yeah, I'm 30 years old now, and I was in Norway when I was 20, actually 22, yeah. So some time back. It was quite important, and I think the time after that was somewhat different. So very short on the professional note, I'm within product management space at the moment. Switched there quite recently. I've been doing different bunch of things, from like project management within tech, to digital transformation and internal consulting, both in Russia and in Germany. However, throughout the whole journey, I was very much interested and exposed to startups of different kinds, both just working with friends, helping out on like doing the pitches and, you know, preparing some of the things to help with the IR activities, IR investor relations, I mean, to also being quite entrepreneurial centered myself and always aspiring to be a founder or co-founder at some point. I'm not there yet, but that's somewhat a vision that I have for myself in some years to come. As I believe it's probably the kind of role where that would suit me personally, and might help me to actually grow the strength that I do have. I'm a big fighter with you know, corporate systems, so I'm pretty much of a misfit in big organizations. I managed to work in Sber though, not for a long time. So now I'm a pretty big company as well, but it's always about finding the right people and building the right team around you, or sitting in the right team where you can actually make things work, versus and the big gigantic system with processes, which is definitely, I mean, quite a cool thing in general, at least up to my observation. In terms of education, and you know, the years before that, I'm an economics and business grad. So I studied in the High School of Economics in Moscow. Yeah, like 10 years ago or more actually. And then in Norway and France. So yeah, I'm basically the one who switched to technology without hard science background and without IT background per se, or mathematics background, and that has been an interesting journey. So once I hear people talking about product development or more engineering based things, it always gets me quite excited, and I'm happy to share the knowledge and ask for mentorship, because I guess I'm still somewhere in the beginning of the journey. So in that space, I'm coming with more of a commercial opinion and business opinion rather than a technical skill set. On a personal note, I'm an avid believer in let's say how to put it in the right words. Generally collaborative leadership, be it, let's say, in a couple or on a personal level, or be it on a corporate level. So I believe together we can do much better, and we just need to find the strengths that we have and build upon them rather than fight for resources. So in that sense, I think that's the sustainable way how to do good things together. In terms of the interest and hobbies, I'm very much into arts of different kinds, both practicing and experiencing. So what I mean by this is actually be it any kind of immersive art experience of dance or visual arts, or actually doing something yourself, like singing or drawing. So I enjoy all of it. And actually, it's a funny remark that today I was supposed to go to a museum, but in Germany, everything is very strict, as some of you might know. So even being a member of like sort of a museum club and having yearly subscriptions, you should still get a slot to enter the museum. So basically, I didn't manage. And therefore, my artistic morning was a bit transformed. But yeah, it didn't spoil the mood that much. Yeah, maybe a couple of more things on what I like to do besides arts. I very much enjoy sports. I used to run half marathons, but not anymore. But I really want to get back in that shape and, in a proper training routine. I haven't done the personal development plan, or how is it called, like the proper terminology that you guys use, but I want to do that and commit to something big this year, actually, because I feel even though the circumstances of, let's call it, global geopolicy is not really beneficial, but yeah, we shouldn't really be discouraged by that, and trying to find a good time for yourself and investing in something that is important for yourself is really important. So, yeah, I really want to get back to this. I think that's it in terms of the slide and like a short pitch. But what I would like to maybe highlight in potential areas for collaboration or exchange is that I did walk quite a way in, let's say, tech community in Berlin. So I do know people in Europe in technology, both on the investor side, actually, what comes to funds, and in Berlin, there are quite many VCs present. Actually, due to my previous experience, I worked in a bit in a VC in Moscow, and then on the technology side, there's a lot happening in Berlin, since it's the second biggest hub, I guess, after London in Europe for startups. So I'm happy to help in whichever way I can, even though fundraising is not easy thing these days. Obviously, taking into account the current global economic conditions, and Germany suffer quite substantially from that. So I can see it everywhere, like comparing in my country to some of my friends trying to close rounds of startup funding around here. But yeah, I mean, if I can be of any use, be it my network or anyone from connected with, please reach out and feel free. I'm not there yet in terms of investor experience or let's say pure business type of experience as many of you are, but I do have quite some European exposure and that's maybe what I can say. And yeah, besides that, happy to connect in person if any of you is in Berlin anytime soon by any chance. Based here, might likely will be flying quite a lot around, but yeah, that's good. That's the city for me for I guess some time to come. That would be it. And happy to answer any questions or any suggestions or anything that could have triggered your interest. Yeah, would be happy to change.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I have a question. I apologize if you actually mentioned it in your talk. There was a lot of background noise, so I might have missed it. But you're saying that product management is your key expertise. So if we are talking about those topics, for example, you could talk on, like an example with leadership, what would they be? Is this product management, or maybe you could be more specific about what you're interested in or what you've done previously, what experience you've got or expertise, I think.
No, absolutely. So am I getting it right in terms of like just the leadership exposure, right? And like approaches to leadership.
Well, leadership or project management or product management or innovation, these are like, they're interconnected with different topics. So what specifically are you doing, are you expert in?
Oh, I mean, in terms of what I'm doing, I'm building products within e-commerce. So that's fairly instrumental thing. I would say it's nothing very visionary for the time being. But yeah, just building things and delivering them and making it work. In terms of, let's say, the exposure to leadership, the approaches towards it. Sorry. I'm just an avid advocate for a servant leadership, as I guess many of you guys and ladies probably are. And that's how I work with my team. And I'm pretty invested in people in general, because I think the more we share, the more we get back fundamentally. And be it your smaller profit family, be it your reports, like your team. So that's the way I address the topic. And I think for me, it's still a pretty early journey in the sense that I do have my team. I joined the new department now, and I'm exploring how to help people grow, because in Germany, I mean, it actually depends a lot on where you are, but people are very much into normalization. So let's say being average and not very ambitious is a thing, which doesn't resonate with me very well. So I help people in my team to discover their strengths and actually aspire for more. So that's what I try to focus on currently in terms of the approaches to leadership. And I can say it's not super easy. In Moscow, it would be much easier because everyone wants bigger scope, more people to work with, more money, just achieving and aspiring higher. Here, the setup is a bit different. So you need to actually unlock this first and then help people get there, which can be a bit different of a perspective and sometimes more tricky.
Thank you. Got it. Okay, guys, maybe you have some ideas on how to collaborate with Anna, or some questions or comments on that magnificent profile.
I'll just comment that I have a friend of mine, a former group mate or classmate, who is also living in Berlin for a long time. And he was also engaged in some health tech products or startups. Basically, he was in charge of a couple of startups in Germany. And I would really love to connect you three, meaning you and Ruslan, so that you can probably meet up together and think of something probably that could lead to something. Yeah, would love really to see you all together. That's it.
Thanks, Anton. Happy to.
Noted. We'll need to nudge you towards that, Anton. I made a note of that.
Yes, sure. That's it. I would really love you to fixate everything that I promise and then make me do that.
Sounds exciting.
In a non-violent way. That's the.
No, be violent. That's okay. Yeah.
I was just about to say, we'll see.
I can tolerate that. I can tolerate that. Yeah. As soon as the purpose is sustainable, I can tolerate the violence. Just a joke. Okay. So yeah, just a joke. Sorry. Okay. So yes, Olga, you want to add something? Oh yes.
No.
Oh yeah. Sorry. You just put your mic on. So
yeah.
Yeah. So Evgenia, should we pass over to the next point of our agenda? Who's next?
Yeah, happily. Well, actually, it's Olga, and I just wanted to say that I'm happy to see her again. I did not notice how this month actually passed, but Olga gave self-presentation last time we met. For those of you who are new, and Olga is the co-founder of a startup focusing around soft skills development in teams. So there might be some topics that are interrelated in terms of leadership, in terms of what Anna was talking about, managing teams and soft skills development. So Olga, are you with us? Your mic is off.
Yeah, sure. So I'm ready to present. I just want to share my screen.
Yeah, you're welcome. The stage is yours.
Yeah. So guys, I'm ready to present. First of all, I will present my personal KPI in sustainable development for this year. And as my goals, I can point, well, I will do as maximum as I can. It's like 100% plus 100. It's my goal. So I think that I can do it. And this year I became a version 4.0. I became 40 years old, and I think it's not too late to start do something useful still. So and my key points, it's first of all sustainable life balance and life energy. It's exactly the topic Lev talked and described in his speech. I would like to concentrate on my personal life and to provide a lot of energy to do a lot of interesting things that can make me happy and happy my surroundings in every sphere. Next point, it's 7 hours of week of reading. It's around 4,500 pages in this year. Next, it's like 15,000 steps per day, like a minimum goal. So in a year, it will be 5,475,000 steps in a year. So also I put like a point KPI, it's 1 kilo of plastic I will collect per day. It's like a waste because I saw that a lot of plastics in our life, and in all products we have a lot of parts we can collect, and it's around between 800 and 1 kilos per day. So if I will do it every day, I will collect 365 kilos in this year. And we have a special system in Copenhagen to use this plastic for some kind of other things, recycle, and so on and so on, etc. Also, I'm focused to save CO2, and my point to save 1,000 kilo of CO2. This year, I already made 330 kilos this year. It's actually it's funny, but it's connection with the food consumption. So if you will not waste the food, it's also effect on your CO2. And I would like to also save 40,000 Danish kroners. Also connection with the food and some kind of contribution you don't need. And I already saved 9,018 Danish kroners this year. And finish points, it's like 50 smiles per day. It's 18,200 smiles in this year at minimum, and 10,000 professionals, personal professionals, more soft skills. 10,000 people will be more soft skills. It's my personal goal for this year. Okay, move on. Now I would like to skip to my concept of my project. So as I shared on the last meeting with you guys, the concept, I'm sorry that I blink the metrics because we are in the moment to make a make registration of this concept officially. When it will be finished, I can open this table of metrics, and you can see what kind of elements we already have in our project. So the concept of this project, that first to have a nice soft skills, you need to have a diagnostic. Then you go to metrics, and in metrics with the artificial intelligence, you get a personalized learning, like in different sets. All sets, they are different because the choice of education based on the result of diagnostic. And then after learning, you make a final diagnostic, and then you have a result, what kind of effect you have after all this education. And now I would like to show, for example, on it's one example. Like our first business intensive, we call it basic soft skills, and it's the basic program for setting up a team according to the rules of personal and team time management, preparing and holding meetings, negotiation, and speaking to audience. So let's see what it's about. We concentrate on the teamwork, and we have a question, how it make effective. And we have this solution. It's like a business product, basic soft skills, included 5 basic soft skills, only 5. So you're going from employer to team. So different employers, they became a team, and training a team through the development of soft skills. And look inside. So this program, Basic Soft Skills, it includes these 5 skills we're working with. It's a personal time management, team time management, communication in negotiations, effective meetings, public performance. And this set of soft skills will provide you basic knowledge and basic coordination of your team. It's very important to understand why it's very important. And as a main idea, I put this. So not a single institution teach us to plan a time competitive, communicate effectively with the people and speak to the public. It's true, because you cannot get this knowledge in your university or in school. And these are important aspects in the interaction within the team. And achieving team goals depends mostly on three rules. We can say: making better decisions quickly. The best or better decision or solution is solution that involves the least amount of resources to achieve the goal. And these skills of effective communication, including in negotiation. Second, the volume of tasks performed by each employer individually and the team as whole. This is where personal and team time management comes in. And the third one, the ability of convey important information to large audience. So, and the last very simple picture, and showing that it's very important. Skills not developed, the picture, and skills developed. So this is the main idea of our product. And of course, I would like to invite you in this project. And if you have some ideas or you would like to cooperate, to join, or make a pilot projects on teaching soft skills, you are very welcome. I'm very open, and you can call me or chat with me anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olga. First of all, I want to mention that the slides are beautiful. Very nice, very shiny. Kudos to your designer, or to yourself if you're kind of
no,
drawing it yourself.
I have a designer, and I also a little bit involved in design, but mostly yes, it's our designer made those slides.
Yeah, pictures. Yeah, so they're very vivid, explicit, etc. So
especially this one is like
yeah, this slide. Yeah, so the
something.
shadows, the grades. Yes, so
yeah.
It kinds of the composition. It's kind of beautiful. Yes. So thank you for that. And purple is my favorite. So thank you as well. So I wanted to ask you the question. So basically, what do you think is the key competitive advantage of your startup, of your business? Is it the content? Is it the framework, the methodology, the approach? Or is it the software kind of solution, the usability, scalability, AI, etc.? Or all three?
Well, the most competitive that we hold in one circle, all three or even 5 steps. First, it's diagnostic. Usually, it's a separate startup, separate companies who makes this diagnostic and identify the level of your skills. It's a separate product. Second, our main idea is to create a special metrics. You can see it's this huge field. I'm sorry that I cover it with the white square again, but because we are again in the process of registration, this idea. And this is the second, because we create a special system with artificial intelligence and 45 soft skills. And it's new because no operator of education provide you customized learning. So you will never pay money for something you don't need, for something you already have. You will pay money only for, or you will buy the education product or micro learning only that you need. And this is the main idea of this project. The third step, that during the education process, we connect real KPI and real business process of each team, of each company with the education process. So when you are finished, you will be ready to play by new rules inside of your team. And these new rules will fix the errors in your team. And also, we have this final diagnostic that check your efficiency of education, of your result of education, and no one provide this on the market. I mean, on the Russian market, it's absolutely. European market, I didn't see this final diagnostic yet, but maybe LinkedIn Learning, they have a little bit the same idea like we, but they have a different approach. So yes, this is the main power points of our project.
Thank you very much. I hope those of us who have some experience in learning and development, in talent management, in adaptation and career development, etc. And Ilya Boft, whom I mentioned today as a digital talent management specialist or expert or subject matter expert. Probably Ilya could even join your team one day. I think that could be a good fit. So we could share some experience with you. I don't know whether you've done an extensive kind of design thinking, customer development stage, talked with a lot of HRs, etc. But if not, I can be one of them, and I can just share my experience, what issues we had, what kind of, from what angles we look at that, and how we would approach choosing a kind of a provider like you, right? So that could probably help you to refine and adjust your business model to what really can be, yes, can be the next step or the priority on your roadmap, etc., etc. Yes, and Ilya is kind of reckoning that he would be happy to connect. So, oh no, it's Anna. I was just looking, it was closer because at the bottom of my screen is Ilya's avatar, so I just overlapped those. Again, sorry, 3 hours of sleep. It kind of can't go unnoticed. So sorry for that. Again, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Well, actually, I also would like to mention that I will be very happy if someone, and thank you, Anton, if we can make some kind of custom development HR, because we want to talk and we want to understand how the process is going on now. I mean, in HR, because we think that they changed a lot during the last 1 year. And I would like, and I will be very happy, and my team will be very happy if you or your partners or your friends who are in HR will provide those kind of help and make with us this short custom development. Of course, we understand that it's your time, and to cover this time cost, we can, at minimum, we can give you one of our education micro learning for free, or some kind of discount. I don't know, something you can feel that it cover your time.
Okay, so
you.
yeah, that's a really very important question. So first of all, I know hundreds of HRs and that could and might participate in your design thinking exercise. So probably let's just, and again, Evgenia, Ashraf, please keep me responsible for what I'm saying right now. So we can make a post. I would share it on my Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. And I'll probably try just to tag people that I know would be, you know, kind of accessible to participate in that kind of exercise. And I think the best kind of gratitude that you can provide them with is not kind of like a present or certificate or even a course, but the result of your research would be the best value that you can share with them. Okay, so not publicly, but for them who have participated. So they invest their time, but they receive the knowledge back. That would be the best reciprocity you can demonstrate. So, and me myself, I would also be interested in that. So, let's just do this. And again, so I would ask Evgenia and Ashraf to moderate and to coordinate those things, because these could be like, this is one of the precedents of the specific, very concrete, pragmatic collaboration we might have in a club. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. I loved, as much as I loved the form, the slides, I love the content and this approach where you systematize all the soft skills, 45 of them, they are in this kind of like Mendeleev metric system, right? So they are in different groups. Do I understand it correctly from your slides?
I'm
The
sorry, Genia,
45
I didn't properly hear you, but is it about the question about system of our approach, or?
Yeah, so is it possible during the diagnostic stage that you actually have all those soft skills already developed? Is this the final goal of the development? So that like all the 45 would be 10 out of 10? Is this how it works, or I got it incorrectly?
Okay, if I understand your question correct, so the goal is the goal of the company and the goal of the team, of course, to get those skills, to push team to manage and to get the skills. But the medium goal is to understand on what level they are. You can point only two goals: where we are now and where we could, what we should do to be in the point B. So
if I'm a client, you are diagnosing my kind of map of soft skills.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you give a number to each of them, 45.
Yeah.
And for instance, I've got 10 of them that are 0, so I need to work on them. Is this how it works?
Yes, exactly. So of course, you need to understand that this is the concept of the project. We are still in work. We are still in deep work. And right now, we are already ready to provide for education 15 soft skills. This year, before the end this year, we will ready to provide all 45 skills, because we also create a special standard of soft skill in education. It's something new. There is no standard, and we think that we can manage this role. Yes, the concept is that from 45, all skills, and they are soft skills, manager skills, also digital skills, power skills, we are classified them in special groups. You, like a client, you will get a result, a number, and the name of exactly skills you need to work with. So it will be like a point of your potential growth.
And you,
and of course, and of course, after diagnostics, you will have a special report of diagnostics, what is good, what is not so good in your skills. So you can see, you can share it with your colleagues if you want, your team leader, you can see it. So you will have a clear picture.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So thank you for your amazing presentation. I had a question regarding your ISDP. You have mentioned that you have already saved 333 kilograms of CO2. I've asked the question, how did you actually calculate this already? And
very easy.
Is it like an approximate number, or is it exact number of, or is there any open source?
Okay, it's not approximate number. It's very easy, guys. So in Europe, maybe actually some of you can also use this application. It's one of very famous startup. They call Too Good To Go. It's about food and waste of food. And I really love those kind of ideas and startups, and I support if I can. And the idea is very simple. So you every day you can buy a package of food that left after running of a cafe day or restaurant day. It's normal food, so it's like the same croissant you can buy in the morning, but you can buy a package of those croissants in the evening. In that case, you support that this food will not be thrown out. You care about, I mean, production and people. And in Europe, it's very popular idea not to buy a lot, not to buy more than you can contribute, just to buy only things you need. And more than that, to buy those packages to make consumption equal. And in this application, you have a numbers of your packages, and numbers of your CO2, and numbers of your money you saved. So it's really great idea. So if you would like to try it, the name is Too Good To Go. And they show your profile with all those. Of course, you can calculate in another ways, but this is one of one of the very simple way how you can measure it.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. It's something new for me, so that's why I will definitely have a look on Good To Go startup.
Yeah, by the way, again, to Ashraf and Evgenia, let's just write down that idea at some point to make or to write some article and make a research on just like probably top 10 apps to calculate your footprint, to consume less, to reduce, to remove, to repurpose, etc., like circularity, waste reduction, etc. So I mean, like for the use by individuals, right? So I think that could be kind of a nice recommendation, hint to other participants, and of course to a broader audience. Thank you.
So it's perfect timing, I guess, because we were about to move to you, Anton. You had a lot to say. I remember there was a lot in the agenda, and I was looking forward to some of those things that you were planning to share with us. So I think that we've got luxurious half an hour.
Yes. So I promised 5 minutes to Khalid. So Khalid, go ahead, and I'll finish.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anton. It's as always, you are being extremely generous. I knew that you will not say no, so I was pretty confident. So I will try to be as short as possible, as concise as possible. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Excellent. Please let me know when you see the screen.
We see now.
Okay, excellent.
But it's in Russian, so beware.
Yeah, it's in Russian. It's in Russian. Let me go to full screen.
It might not work, as you know. Oh yeah, it works. Oh yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, it works. Okay, I just want listen. I'm really amazed by the size of everything in China, and although so much information about the Chinese market everywhere, but still this country keeps to be terra incognita in many senses. So these are my like most recent discoveries about the Chinese ESG market and some economic features of the market. I mean, this is like the fastest growing country in terms of GDP in the world. So in the last 40 years, it grew 88 times. And the consequence of such a rapid growth is basically it's out of proportion issuance of carbon dioxide. So almost 33% of the global total carbon dioxide emittance is due to the Chinese economy. This is really amazing. So in order to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060, which is the plan, China is planning to spend something like $16 trillion across 14 industries in the next 40 years. It's amazing size of potential investments which are going to happen. Now, In 2022, $1.1 trillion was spent on energy transition by the whole world. And 49% of it was spent just by single China, which is like, as mentioned on the slide, 387% more than the US. Again, amazing. Now, this is also really amazing thing. Just look at this. Just look at the slide. Individual companies in China emit equivalent quantities of carbon dioxide as the whole countries. So the steel production company Baoyu is emitting exactly the same amount as the whole of Pakistan. SAIC Motors, which is the automobile company, it's equal to Argentina. China Huanan, which is the thermal power company, is equal to the whole country of the United Kingdom. PetroChina is equal to the combination, to the combined Vietnam and Korea. And this construction company, which is called CNBM, is equal to France. Now, again, as Anton knows, I'm looking at many issues and many situations from the mergers and acquisitions point of view, because I've been doing this stuff like all my life. So and now we can see what's, for example, Sinopec is doing. It's one of the largest petrochemical companies in the world. So as we can see, they have a newly created Sinopec Capital Company, which is investing into clean tech. So we can see that they have already invested $232 million into batteries. It's electric vehicles technology. They're also investing into other stuff. So as you can see, they invested $1.2 billion into R&D just in 1 year, 2018, and they're planning $4.6 billion to invest until 2025 into just one single thing, which is hydrogen. This is really amazing. So what I can see basically is that the pressure from both the Chinese government and generally the desire of the Chinese companies to be sustainable, it's leading to out of proportion to great investment into venture capital things, and it's leading to a crazy amounts of ESG mergers and acquisitions. So this is the last one, which is also amazing. Just look at the size of sustainability-linked loans. It's the amount of sustainability-linked loans is $13 billion just in 1 year. So the green financing is booming in China. And as you can see again on the chart, the size of the market will reach $3 trillion actually it reached $3 trillion in 2022. So these are just that's all I wanted to share. So now I'm thinking, well, as you probably know, and Anton knows that for sure, Sber has something like 18 ESG products, which is and selling these products via various channels to corporate clients. So what I'm thinking now is, and actually I'm working on a Russian-Chinese partnership at the moment. What I think is basically my dream now is to tap this market. So I think my new favorite product would be called ESG Mergers and Acquisitions Advisory. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leverage the ESG expertise which we have at Sberbank. And what I want to do, I want to advise both Russian companies and Chinese companies on ESG related investments. So I'm sure Anton I'm sure Anton is especially interested in this subject as well.
Yeah, so I was more than happy to share those 5 minutes. So those were so kind of rewarding. So you know this you know, altruism has it pays back immediately. So yeah, so and we've even discussed with Ashraf. So as I will talk shortly, we've basically done just the same thing, but not for the Chinese market, but mostly for the US market, for the European market, let's say for the Western market, so we can kind of distribute the world, right? Between us two. Okay, so and we can unite
divide the world.
Yeah, as you prefer. Again, it's just a joke, okay?
No, it's not.
No, divide and conquer. That's
and
the
conquer
question.
and rule the world. Yeah, so the sustainable development is basically about the ruling the world, right? So yeah, okay, just a joke. So yes, Khalid, a couple of comments. So first of all, thank you for highlighting, and we had this brief discussion in the chat, and I think this is very important for everybody. China is really not only the main polluter emitter in the world in terms of the volume, of the absolute volume, but they're really the worst in terms of the per capita per joule emitter. So it has nothing to do with the size of their economy. It's just the inefficiency of their economy in terms of the carbon footprint, right? So this is very important. So we shouldn't justify Chinese volumes just by saying, oh, they're so big, they have more than 1 billion people, that's only because of that. No, that's because they're lagging behind in terms of the technology. Okay, so that's a very important thing. By the way, EPAM is working in the Chinese market, so we will have to kind of overlap there a little bit. And yeah, again, so jumping ahead, we've done this research that is being published already right now. And I will just share with you the link, and you can read the same kind of research, but just on the Western market. So there would be named about 20 startups, right, Ashraf? At least in that. So there will be 7 key technologies and 3 by each. Yeah, so around 20 startups. But we have a list of about 40, 50 startups. Yes, Ashraf, or how many do we have? So yeah, it's much bigger. So probably we can sell something to you. Okay, I'm joking. So I hope we will be able to publish it as well, because that's really interesting. That's all public information. We just gathered it. And Ashraf has spent some time to gather this data about those deals to understand exactly in which startups recently the main big oil companies have invested in terms of sustainability. But the fields, hydrogen, CCUS, geothermal, etc., so they all are the same. And when you're showing it, it's only proving that like kind of everybody's looking at the same way, but just, you know, the specificity, you know, regional volumes, etc. So yeah, and you have a raised hand, so probably you want to comment on that.
Yeah, of course. This size, this extreme size of pollution is not only due, and not in the first instance due to the size, but of course to inefficiencies of the economy. That's I totally agree. And to prove that is what I wanted to say is their desire, is the Chinese desire not to be in line with European and US ESG standards, because what they are saying basically is that they are being discriminated if they are judged by the European ESG standards. What does that mean? And there are 2 examples. One example is that according to ESG standards, you lose points if you produce alcohol, because it's not sustainable. Okay, people die because of extreme usage of alcohol. So you would lose points. What the Chinese say, they say we've been producing alcohol for the last couple of 1,000 years, and our best companies in the Chinese economy, and probably those who have like the largest capitalizations, market capitalizations, they produce alcohol, and there is no way we want to be discriminated by the Europeans or by the Americans, saying that it's not unhealthy to produce and consume alcohol. That's one. And the second, they accept that they are not a post-industrial country yet. They're using lots of carbon. They use lots of oil and coal.
Yes.
Coal So, and again, according to if you basically follow the European and US guidelines, again you would lose points because you are emitting carbon because of that. So what they're saying is that we're not going to be discriminated because of our sort of under industrialized stage of development because of your standards. We want to develop, and yes, we will invest into clean tech, and we will catch up. But we don't want to be discriminated now. So this is one of the reasons why now China is working big time on creation of their national ESG standard system. And that's exactly what Russia is doing, because Russia is doing not because of that, but because we got cut off of all European companies, certifiers, verifiers, registrars, depositories, everything, any sorts of infrastructure you can think of, Russia's been cut off. So now what we're doing, and Sberbank is one of the leading forces there, and we're driving the agenda there. We're recreating this infrastructure in Russia, and one of the points why I'm doing that with Chinese, because our agendas overlap there. So this is another channel and of our communication.
Yes, thank you, Khalid. A brief word to Ruslan.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask, is maybe there is a point that a lot of manufacture of the developed countries is located in China? No, or is some kind of
No, Ruslan. Okay, yeah, we investigated. Yeah, we dived into it. That's not about outsourcing, you know, offshoring, et cetera, because all that carbon footprint is inherited. It's in scope 3, right? So you can't eliminate it. Moreover, currently you have a carbon border adjustment tax. So you really have to include all those emissions that were produced in your like raw materials, et cetera, into the footprint of your product. So you can't just outsource or kind of, it says export. You can just export these carbon footprint, right? So that's not about that. It's just about the per se inefficiency of the Chinese economy itself. So it's not about the outsourcing, producing a lot, exporting a lot, consuming a lot, et cetera, et cetera. So they just do it inefficiently. So that's very, very important, right? So
yeah, I see. Okay.
Yes, Khalid. Yes, just a very brief.
Just very brief. You know that China, they develop in 5-year how to say
plans
in 5 lет.
Sprints.
Yes, in 5-year sprints. So and each sprint has always had a motto, like a slogan, like their main theme which they wanted to achieve. So just imagine how the new one is called. This is just outstanding. Just think about it. Learn, copy, buy from China. How's that? Learn, copy, buy from China. So, I mean, they transitioned from the time when it was like made in China, which was like 10, 15 years ago. Then after made in China, their main motto was designed in China. So their intention was to become the world's designer of everything in the world. So now their next goal is to make the whole world to learn and copy from China. How's that?
Okay, yes, an ambitious goal, really very important to consider. And from there, let me probably pass over. We have 17 minutes left, so probably I'll be able to cover half of my agenda. Khalid, you can kind of bring down your hand. Yeah. Yes. So wait a minute here. Let me just pass over to the slide deck that I have here. Yes, sorry. So yeah, probably this one would do. Okay. So can you see the deck?
No, I'm afraid it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
now we can.
You see now. Okay, great. So yeah, let me be quick. First of all, yeah, I'll just go top down, and if I don't have enough time to cover everything, I'll just move it to the next meeting. So these are the results, my personal results or like work results for this month. And I will just share those that are relevant to you guys, to those things that you have mentioned today. So the first one is this article on 7 key sustainability innovations for energy. It will be published. Yes, Khalid, you might not make a photo of this because it's already shared in the chat, and it will be like publicly available. So it will be in a perfect. I can even share the PPT version. It's also in the chat already, so you can reuse it in any way you want. So it's like completely publicly available. So yeah, I will just publish it shortly. Again, it's being published, and I will share it with all of you. Then also public, I've created the Circular Economy Control Tower brochure. So it's about applying circularity principles, again, in the energy sector using digital technologies. I think that could also be interesting for different energy companies and Khalid, probably for Sber and Sber's clients. Sustainable energy one-pager is basically the overall list of all capabilities that EPAM can offer to its clients in terms of sustainable energy. This took me about 4 months to make this one slide. So it's just currently a summary of my understanding. What have I come up to after all this 4.5 months actually? And I think for now it's been corresponding to at least 80% of pain points or focus areas of any energy related company in the world. So at the moment, I'm confident in that. And it took me a while to get there. So yeah, then I'll just skip the third one because it's an internal thing. The fourth is the telescope AI discovering. I will share, and again, probably I will ask Ashraf to hold me responsible for that. EPAM, and I think it would be very interesting to Anna, to Olga, to everybody who is interested, Dmitry, to everybody who is to this or that extent in HR, talent management, human capital management, etc. Because I think, again, to make a long story short, EPAM has spent over 10 years and tens of millions of dollars to create probably one of the best human capital management solutions and software. It's even an ecosystem of services in the world. And I'm really looking forward to try to help our clients with applying this solution. And it even could be used as an accelerator, so as a door opener. So it must not have a very high price kind of per license. So again, I think that's a very beautiful approach to again help any company, including in the energy sector, to really bring talent management, human capital management, workforce performance management of the company to the next level using right framework and methodology, but at the same time the right toolkit. Then again, I'll skip the business operational excellence project initiated because it's internal. Basically, the third and the fifth points are about increasing the efficiency of EPAM internally. And I appear to be one of the most perfectionists people that have come to EPAM recently. So bringing all the experience that we had in Russian companies, including, and Dmitry, remember you were asking about kind of delivering, conveying the experience in Russian companies to Western companies, to global companies, to companies in the S&P 500, so to the biggest corporations in the world. Yes, the answer is definitely yes, there is something we can share. Again, I'll skip the sixth, the seventh one, and it's interesting because it's also in terms of the carbon footprint. So we were invited to participate in the MEOS Geo Conference, Middle East Oil and Gas and Geosciences Conference as EPAM. And my colleagues are presenting there right now at the moment as I speak at the booth of that exhibition. And I helped to, so the decision to participate was not mine. I was just asked to participate. And I participated in any way I can with the materials, with the CRM, with the lead generation, arranging the meetings, preparing the collateral, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I refused to fly there. And one of the main reasons why, because it would produce about, I don't know, 5 tons of CO2 for me to get there. Apart from spending, besides from spending about 4 full days just on transfer and about $10,000 of dollars. So I thought it's not economically, ecologically, and in terms of the healthcare sustainable to participate in this conference. And we decided that we will kind of stick to regional representations too. So to the people that are in the region already, so for them it won't be as big an issue. Okay, so I hope it will turn out well. So, and for me it was a challenge because I'm an extrovert. I really love networking and talking to people in person and exchanging experience, listening to people, learning, educating, etc., studying. But those criteria that I've mentioned, they prevailed. I was struggling, they prevailed. So I'm just adducing it here as kind of an example of how those criteria could be applied in the decision-making process. Okay. Again, so I will skip probably the 8th and the 9th. Probably the 10th would be interesting for Khalid and Ruslan as my former colleagues at Sber, where we were doing the kind of the same stuff. I was just approached yesterday by the EPAM M&A team, and yes, Khalid, I'm sure it would be interesting for you. So we are going to have a discussion on Monday how I can participate in EPAM M&A activities. So hopefully that would be really interesting, and I could be of value there. And we would really kind of exploit all the expertise we have in terms of really expanding our ecosystem. So that's the vision that I had, and currently it's being implemented and accomplished. So that's why I'm happy to share that with you. So it happened accidentally, and yeah, so kind of it's a fate, right? So it follows you wherever you go. Okay, so and then the most important thing, and probably that would be the last thing, because yeah, as usually I'm talking too much. So SDG+, it's kind of our first sprint that we're doing together with our new managers like Evgenia and Ashraf. Thanks again for joining. Without you, that won't be possible. So these are the first results that we have for this first month in this month. So first of all, again, I would publish this link. It is already published. We're just correcting the my bio on that site. So I have given an interview to one of the media on creating the SDG Plus Club. So it's an international global media, of course, an English-speaking media. And there I have described, you know, the key, I don't know, differentiators of our club, what was the origin of the idea, what's the essence, how could you approach that, etc. And I really hope you can share this article with all your kind of acquaintances, friends, network, etc., because it really tries to explain in very simple words what is it all about and what's the value. Okay, so would be really thankful to you for that. Then we hired Ashraf like in the last month because Evgenia joined kind of earlier. An article about carbon removal published. That's also a very interesting thing. Again, we are having little corrections there, kind of an editorial stuff, but it's already published. It's already has the link, so I'll probably just share it with you very shortly. I really inspire you to read this. Yeah, I really think that would be interesting for all of you, but especially for Khalid, because carbon removal is not that much mentioned on that slide of yours about the Chinese investments, etc. But this market is much bigger than the carbon capture, utilization, storage, renewable energy, etc., altogether. So I really regard it as a disruptor article. I hope it will influence like changing the market and changing the perception of this topic, because so basically it's a $10 trillion market, $10 trillion market per year. Okay, at least by 2050. And we really need to tap into that market. Currently, only 0.01% of that market is covered. So it's a blue ocean. But it is growing very rapidly. So a lot of investment there as well. I really think you should look into it and inspire all the companies to participate in that. A huge business opportunity as well as a huge impact, of course. Then we have made about 7 interviews of new members, and we have kind of invited 4 of them. So first of all, probably to emphasize that we have some criteria, so we're not accepting everybody. Probably that's important because we're the club and not a community. And secondly, to emphasize, because I won't have time to focus on other slides, that it's still too low, because our plan is to reach 300 members, active members this year, and I'm sure it's feasible. And thanks for all of you who are already helping in that. Really, every day we receive new ideas, new connections, new recommendations of who can join. But we demand to have 23 new members per month, not 4, if we are to reach that goal. So we have to be 5.5 times more effective. So my ask to you is really, please don't be shy. Besides sharing the content, the video, the posts, etc., just look into your network, into your friend lists, other communities, etc. Pick, well, at least like 3 people you think would be the best match for us, and reach out to them. That will be enough for us to complete our mission this year. You know, as least as 3 people per the member that we have right now. So I'll ask you, just do it. Of course, we would help you. There would be a conversion rate, etc. We would together with you interview those people. Not all of them would agree. Not all of them that would respond, etc., etc. But still, so that's a starter. Let's do this. And why I really want to emphasize why this is very important to all of us and to each of you individually and egoistically, because the quantity transfers to quality at some point. So if and when we have 300 people, then the number of relevant topics, relevant networking, and I will just probably show you not cover it, but just show you this slide just as a snapshot. Again, it's in the chat, you can look into it. So all those values you can receive with a larger number of people would increase exponentially. So this is how networks work. So please pay attention to that. Again, you won't be held responsible for each of those people you invite, because still we will have some interviewing process. But if you think this might be interesting to them, please feel free to reach out to them and recommend them. And yes, because of our managers, and this would be my last bullet for today, we've managed to produce, of course, I should have done this before, but I just didn't have enough time. We have managed to produce this first quite okay executive summary of our first meeting this year. And this is the instrument of marketing. So through sharing that knowledge, through sharing that summary, then we will definitely do this today and share all of your thoughts and summaries and, you know, tag you, etc. Share it in social media. Please share it as well. This is one of the most important instruments for marketing. We will also split today's video into short videos, okay, like 3, 5, 10 minutes videos. So there will be not only one big video, but probably 10 small videos. We will also share them on social media. Please, again, share them with your friends. We think that's a beautiful contact. We really spend time on creating that contact. We really think that we have very bright people here, that this contact is unique and it's really valuable. Really, please share it with your friends. Hopefully it will inspire them, and we'll reach our target, and we'll be probably #1 SDG related in terms at least of this plus aspect, community or club, to be more precise, in the world. That's it. I'm finishing my kind of slide sharing here. Probably some closing notes from some of you. Okay, Olga, you have a raised hand. Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Anton. I just a short question about sharing links and new participants and friends. Am I correctly understand that country affiliation is not important? I mean, I have friends from they are not Russians, but they're some of them they in Russia, so some of them they are, I don't know, from Australia, from I don't know, wherever.
Yeah.
So we are open for everyone, or we have some kind of okay.
No. So to be very, very specific, yeah. Okay, Ruslan,
Yeah.
not in this way, not in this way, yeah. But yeah. So we're the global community from the start, and we're English speaking from September, and we really encourage anybody in the world, so no discrimination there. So it like truly equal in terms of accessibility to everybody. It's just that probably for Australia it will be too late to participate in these conferences. That's the only minus. So I really tried hard to balance the time zone of organizing this event, but Australia was in the death zone, or Japan. So that's usually the death zone. So probably we can move it somewhere. I can get up earlier, not a problem. But yeah, so then for Lev, for instance, who is in kind of Canada or in on a West Coast, it would be just night. So he would be in the death zone. So yeah, we should just correlate it with the number of participants from different parts of the world, so that it will fit most of the people. So yeah, that's the only issue, I suppose, for Australia for now. But yeah, no restrictions, definitely no restrictions there. As Ruslan said, we only encourage, yeah, so we want to make our club, again, truly global this year. We really focus on this task. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that it's actually an exciting task, and I also wanted to comment on the criteria. Would it be right for us, Anton, to say that we're still kind of working on that, and the acceptance kind of customer journey map? Because yes, we want the club to become global. That's 100%. We want 300 new members internationally. 100%, but we don't want to kind of like drop the quality or lose this vibe of a closed community of like-minded individuals, of like a closed club. So we're still working on those benefits, structuring those benefits and articulating those benefits that new members are getting from the community. So if you have any ideas about that, like what you love about the club and what you love about those events, that would be really valuable if you share that in the chat, for instance, to kind of help us to tap into USP, right? Unique selling proposition. That's a marketing term, but basically when we are inviting new members and we are attracting new members, we are explaining what they're going to get in the end, specifically if they're international, because I think that once this club is international, it's going to be even more kind of like beneficial, and it's going to be even more resourceful society, community.
Yeah, the diversity. Okay, so yeah, so as Evgeny mentioned, so we're working on a number of materials. The site is the predominant one. I hope on the site you will find all the needed information to really engage anybody. So like a benefits, expectations, and probably some kind of criteria. But basically, kind of if this philosophy resonates with a person, then he might fit, right? But yeah, so there is the code. So initially there was a code, and anybody who agrees to comply with the code fits. Okay, so that is it. It's 3 pages. Okay, we can probably short it to like half a page, so it will be even easier to share. But still, it's all there. We'll just need to work with a format, and it's all gonna be on the site. We already have the site, but we are redesigning it in the process, make it even more explicit, vivid, and transparent, and easy to digest, to understand, and to share. So again, we hope that you will have all the collateral needed to really, as easily as possible, invite and engage any of your friends. If you think we lack something, if you think we should change some format, create a new one, add additional data, please feel free to suggest it, and we'll definitely respond as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I need to thank everyone who participated and who presented, and special thanks for doing that in English. Kind of highlighting the global ambition of this club. Should we take a picture? We discussed it before, whether it's like a good marketing material or bad marketing material, but I think it kind of transfers the mood and transfers the vibe of those meetings. So maybe everyone could switch a camera and say hi. What do you think?
You wanna make a photo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Like
let's do it. Yeah, Dima, can you switch on for a second?
Yeah, could you do this, please, Anton? I
have my camera on. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you mean like do the screenshot?
Yeah, like a screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Happy. Okay.
Thank you.
I've done it. Thank you.
Anton,
Yeah,
Anton, I'm sorry.
yes.
Just a second. I trained it after your smile like this. See?
Oh yeah. So let's like live long and prosper.
I spent 1 day for that.
Yeah, hopefully it like develops your neurons, like the motor part.
Yeah.
So you just train to do it like that. Yeah, there are a lot of exercises I could probably share with you afterwards, again, for kind of proving your brain function, neuroscience, etc. So, oh, I think so. Dropped or something.
Sorry to interrupt. The next meeting on the 18th of March. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So all of you are welcome to join, and there's going to be summary of this meeting, an announcement, and agenda, and the scenario is going to be the same. But then again, if you think that you have some idea about what this meeting should be focused on, then feel free to contact me either in the chat or in direct messages. And if you want to share some research or project or pitch like Olga did today on her startup company she's working for, that would be great. We're encouraging you to do that.
Yeah, and we have a lot of ideas and a lot of announcements. So we just didn't have enough time today. So probably let's just start from that like the next time, right? So we are just postponing my presentations every time on the last part because of kind of altruism. But yeah, let's focus on that at least half an hour in the beginning. And we'll just, apart from sharing the results, we'll just share the ideas of different formats, because I think they could be very interesting to all of you. For instance, as a kind of a teaser, this SDG plus Atlas that we want to create for B2C level of sustainable development engagement. So it's kind of an atlas, again, of recommendations for each and every one of us. What exactly should we do to be more sustainable, to lead a more sustainable lifestyle across all the 17 goals and more, because that's a plus. Okay, so I think that's what the world lacks right now. The UN doesn't have such an instrument. They have a lot of similar things, but they're pretty vague, I would say. So a more structured, a more quantified, a more practical instrument would be really handy, I think. But that's a hypothesis. Let's discuss it the next time.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you again very much, everyone.
See you. Have a beautiful weekend. Hope a lot to digest and think of and share with your friends and relatives at the weekend. Thank you. Bye. See you next month.
Bye.
And in the chat, of course. Bye-bye.
Right.